So, the chapter is out for My Hero Academia, chapter 308, All Out. And let me just say this, that title in itself tells us everything that we need to know about this chapter. We get some new stuff, we get some old stuff, but more importantly, we get the fight that we've been waiting 2 weeks for, Muscular versus Deku. And the winner will not surprise you. But before we get into it, let's hit the intro first. Hit it! Hey guys, how's it going? It is your boy, Big Blue Drew 97 here, coming at you with another My Hero Academia review. This time, reviewing chapter 308, titled All Out. And when it comes to this chapter, it is what we all expected this chapter to be. A fight between Deku? Oh gosh, combine Deku and Muscular. A fight that we've been looking for 2 weeks, Deku versus Muscular. And we get that in this chapter with a little bit of different information involving the 6th user, I believe, and a little bit better context on how Deku's actually going to be using his newly acquired quirks through One for All. But before we get more into it, I'd like to ask you, if you haven't done so, to subscribe to my YouTube channel to be notified for whenever I post my Hero Academia reviews. If this is the type of content that you like, I like to do My Hero Academia reviews, slight reviews / reactions of Dr. Stone, which it's getting real good, as well as just reactions to other chapters that come out in Shonen Jump. So if that's something that you're interested in, subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit that little notification button to be notified of my videos. And without the way, let's get right into the review. So we start off this chapter with a wonderful reunion between Muscular and Deku, where Muscular basically acts like an obsessive ex-girlfriend because he looks at Deku and like, I remember you, kid. Yeah, you're the kid that smashed me into the wall that one time. Oh man, I could never forget about you. Scratch that. Muscular sounds like a crazy ex-girlfriend, because from here he basically is just going on this slight tirade of like, oh man, I've been dealing with all these weaklings, man, that fight that we had, oh man, that was great, please don't go anywhere, please don't leave, man, I really want to fight you, don't worry, this isn't for revenge, this isn't for anything, I just really want to go on a rampage, and I just can't forget that fight that we had, so let's do it. And as soon as he says that, he begins to jump at Deku as Deku avoids the dodge, as Muscular is just having the time of his life. So yeah, if you didn't know, Muscular is crazy, but yeah, he just really wants to fight. He thought that the fight that he had with Deku was probably the best fight that he ever had, and he just wants to relive that joy, relive it once again, because that's what Muscular is. He's someone filled with anger, rage, and wanting to destroy, which is a great counter to Deku, who wants to save everyone. So, like I said, he jumps into the building. He misses Deku as he knocks down that entire building as he's like, I'm ready for this rematch! As we also have Deku's like, yeah, I remember you. I can't forget about you. But before we even get into that part, Deku has to come to the realization that, alright, okay, I should probably get ready to fight this guy. What should I do? Should I do this? Should I do that? Oh yeah, I'm still holding Yo. Should probably get rid of this guy. So before he even goes more into the fight with Muscular, he has to drop off his dead weight with his girlfriend, Tatami, as she's crying over Yo, saying that he's stupid and, through the specific translations, a quote-unquote cringe lord. She begins to try to apologize to this person as Deku's like, oh, don't worry, I let a lot of damages go by. I'll make sure that I stop any more casualties as he leaves. And because of all the smoke that's surrounding him, which we get the confirmation of what the 6th user quirk is in this chapter, and we'll get into that a little bit later. She's just surrounded by smoke. She doesn't see who the person that saved Yo is, but she does recognize him from his voice, which makes sense because she was also there when they all got their provisional licenses. So now you have Deku, who's thinking to himself, did I overdo it? As we cut to probably the most interesting part of this chapter. So now we cut over to what I think is probably the most interesting and the most telling part about this chapter, where we have Deku talking within, talking to the 6th user of One For All while he's using One For All, and they're basically talking about how, you know, my quirk is a lot stronger than it used to. My smokescreen quirk. I think you may have overdid it a little bit. Like, you control the area, but I think you might have used too much. And so we just get this, like, conversation between Deku and between the 6th user, and it's very interesting because he's like, you know, kid, you're doing a good job. Keep doing what you're doing, but you gotta realize something. As Deku's like, yes, sir, you gotta realize that you made a few mistakes there, and because you're the last person to have this power, you have to realize that you shouldn't be using these quirks so willy-nilly. These quirks are powerful and all, but they can also act as a crutch. You cannot let One For All use your body. You must use it. You also don't rely on the quirks on their own. Probably what you should probably do is think of the new quirks as tools to help you and aid you in your fighting. Maybe you should get into that type of mindset. What do you think, kid? So yeah, that's kind of like basically what he's saying. He's basically saying that Deku's relying on the quirks too much, that he values them too much, that he's allowing One For All to control his body when he should be doing the same, and that he shouldn't be thinking of the quirks necessarily as like powers, but thinking of them as tools, and he has to find ways to use those tools. And what is very interesting about this idea is that we get this imagery of what these quirks are going to be representing, where we have the walkie-talkie, which represents danger sense, the rope, which represents black whip, the jetpack, which represents float, and the flare on the side representing the smoke screen being a signal, which makes sense, and also alluding to potentially what the other two tools could be, because with this idea in mind, the first two, not first two, but the second and third users' quirks may actually not be combat based at all, or if they are combat, they'll be very similar, and Deku would have to use them as a combat tool. But it's just interesting to see that Deku, for the person who like really admired these quirks, really thought that these could be amazing quirks, the users themselves are like, no, they're not like amazing quirks, but you still have to use them more effectively. You can't just use them willy-nilly. You have to use them as tools, which is something very essential for Deku to do, because that's the type of person that he is. He's able to, being able to use these quirks as tools is probably the best thing for Deku, because if he's able to use tools, he's able to come up with plans to do that, and that is where Deku's strong suit is. His strong suit isn't the quirks, it isn't One For All, it's his mind. And with that idea in mind, because of that, that is how, spoilers, he's able to defeat Muscular in the end. Sort of. With that lengthy conversation between One For All's 6th user N and Deku, we now have Deku going on the offensive. We see him using his new quirks in succession. So yeah, now we have Deku who's using float, and he's about to use his quirks in succession, as he's thinking to himself that, yeah, Muscular, I can't forget about you. You're one of the guys that withstood my 100% smash, which, you know, is true. And he had to go plus ultra and beyond with a 1,000,000% smash to take him out. But Deku was also coming to this realization that he withstood it, but I have to still finish him off quickly. So he's using also his smoke screen to basically like obscure Muscular's vision to catch him catch him off guard. But unfortunately, that didn't work as best as he wanted to, because Muscular begins to come out of the smoke and begin attacking Deku with ferocity and fierceness. But what is even more interesting is that now he's using Danger Sense to dodge and avoid the attacks and weave out of the area. He's jumping around, and he immediately uses Black Whip after that and slams into this like sewer water grating area where there's like a whole lot of water, where he can most likely mitigate any damage to the surrounding area, showing that Deku is still using his mind. He's still strategizing, and Muscular is just not having it. He's like, oh, come on. Really? These stupid tricks? Come on, I just want to go all out. I just want to fight you. Fight me! Fight me, damn it! Punch me in my perfect jawline, why don't you? Muscular is just going on this rampage, just wanting Deku to fight him for real. But while this is all happening, Deku's like, okay, before we get into that, where's Shigaraki and All For One? Where are they located? And Muscular's like, I don't know, I don't care. I just want you to punch me, damn it. And it just goes on and on. Muscular's like, I just want to fight. You're using these stupid tricks. I want you to fight me. Fight me with all your might. And Deku is just beginning to question, like, why do you want to go on a rampage? Like, what makes you do this? Why do you want to do this? And we get this short conversation between them where the response is, I want to live a life without regrets. What do you mean? I just want to be able to fight you. That's it. Okay. Thanks for that. Are you sure about that, Imatsuju Goto? Also, we get the reveal of what Muscular's true name is, Imatsuji Goto. And his response to that is, yeah, is there no other way that we can do this, Goto? And he's like, nope! And so now he's preparing to fight. He is fully bulking up his muscles as he's once again saying, yo, just cut the crap, cut the therapy, let's just fight! I want to fight! Blood, guts, the thrill of battle, fight me! As Deku is just coming to this realization that, going back to what he said to the previous users of One for All, is that if he truly understood the people, he truly understood the villains, maybe things would have turned out differently. He's starting to realize that, yeah, even though he said that, he still comes to the realization that, yeah, this guy is like Shigaraki. He murdered a whole lot of people, a countless number of people, as he talks about how a rematch is pointless. But despite that, he still could sense in Shigaraki's soul that he still wanted to be saved, and he doesn't see that in Muscular, so he comes to a conclusion that, yeah, no, there's no talking with this guy. I have to put him down. And he just straight up kills Muscular. I know, right? It was shocking when I first saw it for the first time. He just straight up murdered Muscular. So yeah, Deku is now a murderer. It's very unfortunate. I guess he has to turn in his hero license. Oh gosh, what is his family gonna think of this? What is Bakugo gonna think of this? He killed a villain before Bakugo. Man, that's really weird. He actually didn't kill Muscular. In actuality, right before the finishing blow was done, Muscular's muscular fibers begin to come undone as Deku comes to realize that, oh, they're pulling away. I guess Shindo actually did something then. I guess his vibrations actually did something, because his muscular tendons begin to like pull away from each other, and Deku also comes to this realization that, yeah, I probably should have realized that when you didn't attack me like straight up, you hit the building, you missed me. I guess Shindo actually did something. Oh well, it's time to finish this. As Muscular, once again, for the final time, he's like, I just wanted to fight you with legitimate power. Oh, shit. Deku just knocks him out, most likely with a singular punch to the gut, as he also declares that, yeah, but this is my power. As chapter ends, we said that we wanted a rematch. This was not a rematch. This was not a rematch at all. This was a one-sided beatdown. And the person being beat down is Muscular, because when you really think about it, Muscular didn't even lay a punch on Deku. He attempted, he failed, and he got knocked the fuck out. So yeah, I guess we were all kind of wrong. This was not the rematch that we wanted. I think this is better than the rematch that we wanted, because this was a complete slaughter. So, what did I think of this chapter? It was good. It was really good. Really liked it. There was a lot of cool action moments in this chapter, with Deku using Danger Sense to dodge Muscular. Just how Muscular is drawn in this chapter, looking extremely menacing with his muscle fibers. Even like when the muscle fibers finally break, it still looks cool. A lot of the art looks good. And like what is even more interesting, something I didn't really go into detail a whole lot, but I still thought was interesting, is that this is kind of mimicking the fight between Muscular and Deku at first. Sorta, kinda, where Muscular is going on a rampage, but the main difference is that in this fight, Deku has learned more. He has learned how to fight. He's learned more about strategy, knows more about his opponent, so he's able to react differently in the situation. Because with the first fight, he just went all out, went all like 100%, was being decked, being thrown around, and he was just being extremely straightforward, which is something that Muscular talked about in that fight, about how his punches were televised, were telegrammed. But in this case, he used one punch, but he did it in a way that Muscular was not prepared for it. He did it in the moment where he was distracted because his muscle fibers were coming undone, and was able to land the finishing blow in one hit against someone who was able to withstand One for All beforehand. And also something else I want to bring up is that the also mimicry of this fight with that previous fight, the first fight that they had, is that Muscular like put in a rock in his eye to imitate him having like that eye in their first fight. So that's also interesting and a slight little like nod to that fight as well. But overall, I still found the fighting interesting. Like the choreography seemed like very well done. Also, two other things I really enjoyed is the fact that even though Shindo basically got like OKO'd in an instant, he still played a role in helping out with Muscular, meaning that this still ties into the ideas of teamwork when it comes to My Hero Academia, how you cannot like solely rely on one individual. Deku may have had the power to take out Muscular by himself, but that could have been a longer drawn out fight. But because of what Shindo did in causing Muscular's like muscle fibers to eventually like break and come apart, it gave Deku that opportunity that he needed to finish Muscular off easily without causing any more damage. So that ties into more of the ideas of like not relying on a single hero, working as a team. Teamwork makes the dream work. But what is also even more interesting about this chapter was that we were able to see Deku have a conversation with Ian, like in real time, showing that One For All has grown to the point where now Deku can freely communicate with the previous users at any time to get advice about them. They said that they wouldn't pry into his life, but he's basically like asking for their help and that they're giving him advice, which is also interesting, tying into an idea that Deku is basically the Avatar. He's Aang. He's able to use smoke, Black Whip, he's basically the Avatar, which I still think is cool. Whether or not that's intentional or not, I don't know. I just think that that's another cool comparison between Deku and Aang. But overall, really enjoyed this chapter. Thought it was very entertaining. It was fairly short when it comes to the actual fighting, but just the thematics of it and like what this fight actually represents was awesome in my eyes, and hopefully you enjoyed this chapter as well. And if you did, leave your comments down below. What did you think of this fight? Do you think that it was too quick? Do you think that Muscular isn't taken down? Do you think that we're going to see the fight continue next chapter? Or do you think that the fight should have been shorter? I don't know why you would think that, but leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Leave a like on this video if you liked it. Leave a dislike if you disliked it. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit that notification button. Do all that cool jazz. And hopefully I'll be able to catch you in the next video. Goodbye. Huh?